Hello and welcome to Chopcast. My name is Griffin. This is Sam, and then Will. Yeah. um, Will is a natural Reds fan, so a split is exactly what he wanted. I assume. I don't know. The Braves go 2-2 to a team that isn't great. I think they earned one win, and then the rest of the time we just kind of sat on our hands and um, let it let them have it. But yeah. Also, quick side note: my laptop sucks and might just shut down at any point. So, oh yeah, it just told me you'll need more storage to keep syncing files. I don't. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. Hopefully I won't be using my laptop soon. Um, but yeah. What quick impressions before we get into things. What did Sam? What did you think about kind of the opening
Yeah.
series?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go into like game by game stuff just off the bat because I know we'll
Mm-hmm.
get to that in a second, but it felt like it really like okay, I know this is a loose, very loose kind of interpretation of it, but kind of felt like 2012, 2013 like Falcon season. Maybe it was the year after, but it was the year after we had like a pretty deep run into the playoffs. I think we might have gone to the NFC Championship or definitely like one of the
Was
later
that the
rounds, and
Niners year?
I believe so. I think so. And it felt like the first game back, like you could just tell the energy was a little different. Like people were kind of sitting on their hands a little more, wasn't as exciting. There's a little bit of a hangover, and I kind of felt that again watching the series. I'm not gonna lie, like it was good to split, and obviously, I mean, we should have done better, but I think there are flashes, and there was a lot of luck that went the Reds' way and luck that did not go our way. So it is what it is. I mean, it's a 2-2 split. That's kind of what you're gonna expect. But yeah, just kind of felt a little indifferent. Hopefully the energy picks up. Need guys like Acuna back in the dugout.
Yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
Will was at the Masters over the weekend, wearing his. Did you buy that shirt there?
I did. I spent $500 in the gift shop.
Oh
Oh.
my God. I thought everything was like super cheap there. Is that not like the thing
No,
No,
in
that's
the
the
no.
menu. Well, I mean,
Oh,
admittedly, like, uh, it was sick. It was
Mm.
not. I won't verge off too much, but no, it was sick. So I didn't really watch the. I did not really get a chance to watch the series. So
Mm.
got a lot of merchandise though. Got a
mm-hmm.
lot of
And
merchandise.
how? Yeah, what did you get for
Actually,
$500?
well, most of it, I mean, like some of it was to friends that wanted stuff, so like they're Venmoing me it for it.
Yeah.
But like a couple of polos, I got my parents some stuff, my brother some things. Got a flag. I got this shirt. I got the douchiest hat you'll ever see. Because
Good.
here, let me grab it. It's right there. I don't even wear hats, but it says Patron
Oh my
2022.
God.
I like
You're
it.
the worst.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you,
I like
Griffin.
the idea of it.
But yeah, no, one of the craziest things that happened was we were on the uh third green when Patrick Reed was putting, and we were
Uh,
standing right next to Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
That's
massive.
super
He
cool.
towered over me.
Hmm.
really?
Um, no, he's massive, dude. He's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
For people
But no,
don't.
that
Will,
was
are you like
sick.
6'5" or 6'4"?
I'm like 6'4"
Okay.
at like most.
Wow.
I mean, he was a quarterback at Michigan, so it makes
Yeah.
sense, but he
Yeah, but
was
still,
huge.
I don't know. That's
No,
like
That's
yeah,
that's wild.
yeah.
reminds me of like the Auburn quarterback this year who was super tall, looked like a
Bo
baby.
Nix
No,
or the other one.
no.
Bo Nix is
Finley.
not a quarterback.
Am
Um,
I being an idiot? Yeah, I
his
am.
last name was
I can't.
Finley. He like
Oh yeah.
waddled like a baby, but like a 6'9" baby. He's just too tall. Um, but anyway, yeah. Before we kind of delve into the series, we have officially lined up our first sponsor, and that is with Sweet Hand Sports. I'll put a little thing in here. But it's a guy who makes batting gloves. That's the main thing that he does right now, and he's hopefully looking to expand past that. But the batting gloves are super high quality, and he's just a really good dude. And I've talked with him a couple of times. Um, but if you use the code CHOPCAST10, you get 10% off. It would also help us out in the future as well. Um, and I'll put it on our Instagram as well. But looking forward to making some more content with him as well going forward, and looking forward to helping him grow as well. But yeah, Sam and Will don't know a whole ton about him, but he's nice. he's from he's from Pittsburgh. Um, Talked on the phone a number of times, but yeah,
Is he a Braves fan?
he I mean he likes the Braves, but I think he's more of a Pirates fan because he's from
Makes
Pittsburgh,
sense.
which is unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
That existence.
yeah. But yeah, I'll put that code up. Um, but let's get into the series. Can't complain too much with the split. I definitely think I did not give the Reds very much credit for their team this year because they did kind of blow it up a little bit.
Mhm.
And I kind of felt like the people that are coming in, um, or like the people that are staying that are of value, they're just kind of holding on to and using as trade pieces down the line, which is more than likely still going to happen this season at some point. But I mean, the Reds lineup is not as bad as I figured. That's definitely their strength right now if they got one. But their rotation's not very good, especially with Castillo being out right now. But Tyler Mahle looked pretty good in the first game. Uh, he went 5 innings, no runs, 7 Ks, which our bats were pretty cold as well. But but after that they got Reaver San Martin, who is decent but really young. Um, and then after that, it's not much. Hunter Green did make his debut, and he's gonna be really good, and did pretty well for his debut. But I don't know their lineup. Their opening day lineup was India, Aquino, Pham, Votto, Stevenson, Senzel, Moustakas, Farmer, and Drury. Um, which again I was a little surprised to see that it was that decent. And kind of for some of these players like Drury and Pham, um, those pickups were kind of just like they've done pretty well last season. Let's just see what they do. See if we can even be remotely competitive. And I don't know. I think the Reds have a shot of being decently competitive this year. We'll see. It's just the first series, but yeah. Will, you're the actual main Reds fan. What did you think about the team coming in this year for them?
I think it's also tough to um I mean I just sort of expected like at best like 80 wins or like on the cusp of 80 wins, but at worst like 70-ish wins, somewhere around there. I don't think they're a 60-win team, especially because it's not like they're in the AL East. So there's that. But I do think like that success is completely dependent on their young players. Because I mean, Hunter Green's the big one, but then on top of that, they're probably going to promote Nick Lodolo, who's like one of the other top pitching prospects in baseball, in about 3 or 4 weeks. Um, so we'll see how he does. And then, in addition, Jose Barrero, their shortstop, who I've pretty much always been pretty high on. He's out for 6 weeks because of like a
Mm-hmm.
hamstring injury. So once he comes back, and then on top of that, they're actually their first round draft pick from last year He's he was probably the most advanced hitter in that draft class. He's from UCLA. He's so advanced that they're projecting he'll actually make his debut this year,
Hmm.
and just fly through the system. He's also a top 100 guy. So like those four, it just depends on how well they perform. Um, yeah. So like I think Votto is going to do really well. India is going to do really well. There's some other question marks with the veterans on that team, like Senzel and Moustakis, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, it comes down to their young players, and particularly those four, and more so the first three I mentioned. So
Yeah. So you think their game plan this year is just kind of like see what happens in the first quarter, and if they're competitive enough, then kind of try to bring the youth in.
yeah, I think so. I mean, Barrero, Lodolo, and Green need to be on the roster. They just have to. They're way too talented, and like they've completely exhausted. They're not going to learn anymore the minor leagues. But I also think they're also gearing up for not this year, of course, and not next year, but the year after, because that's when Votto's big contract is up, and same with Moustakis, so they have a shit ton of money to spend. So it's like all those young players who you have under team control, then you have a shit ton of money to just fill in the gaps. I don't know. That makes sense to me. So I don't really know what that means for this year. I think it's just like try and win as many games as you can, and like build a young core of like India, Green, Lodolo. Um, I don't think they'll be like if they're competitive. I don't think they'll be aggressive buyers at the deadline. That's what you're asking. So yeah,
Gotcha. Um, well, back to the team that actually matters. The Braves. We're gonna try to start doing some more consistent stuff or whatever throughout each of the series. And I think we're gonna lead that up with the overall MVP of the series and LVP for least valuable player or
Mm.
uh, yeah. But MVP, we talked about it a little bit before. Definitely between two guys, but it's pretty difficult to overlook the consistency by Matt Olson. Um, so that's who we have there coming into this series, or going into the national series. He was at about a 570 average. I think he was 8 for 14. Um, so that trade is already looking pretty good. And then obviously it's only one series, but looking at Freddie in LA right now, he's got a 127 going. Um, I think he's a little bit more kind of mentally whatever. He'll shapen up at some point, but it is kind of
Mm.
a little nice to see him not do as well, honestly. Um,
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I kind of just want to see Matt Olson like way outperform Freddie for like obvious reasons, and obviously we want Freddie to be like good in LA, but I just cannot stand the Dodgers. If he was on like the Brewers, I'd be like, yeah, sure, have win MVP, go for it. But
yeah,
yeah, no, it's the setting that just rubs me the wrong way. But no, everything you're saying about Matt Olson's very true. I think like this series really felt like, and it wasn't even just the hits. It wasn't the high average. It was just like the plate discipline. Like he was drawing walks. He looked very, very good and established. And that's like exactly what you want to see with your 27-year-old first baseman that you just signed to like a 6-year contract. Uh, so yeah, I would say like yeah, everything you're saying is right. He was very, very valuable this series.
yeah. He ended up with 3 walks. He got his first homer in Game 3, straight center field. Uh, 2 doubles. He only got 1 RBI, but that just kind of shows how cold the other guys around him were.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, 8 hits, 4 runs. He did strike out 3 times, but compared to the rest of the team, it's pretty low. Um, yeah. OPS around 1400 right now. I'm sure that that'll continue.
Mm.
But yeah, he's got 813 slugging, 579 OBP. So that's you can't really. It's a nice hat,
Nice
Thank you.
hat.
I
Great
want
hat.
everyone to know that I'm a patron,
You're a
Patron
just
of the
not
Masters.
just a customer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. um, but yeah, he's just he's honestly, other than speed, I mean, he did get thrown out at the plate twice. I think that was
Jesus.
kind of more Wash's fault, for just not knowing his speed, because
Mm.
it was not super close, at least one of those times.
Yeah, I saw a comment on Reddit that was like, Matt Olson is carrying on the tradition of Braves first baseman running like a wounded deer. like, like that's pretty true. He looked we love him for many reasons, but running fast is not one of them.
Yeah. He had that comment. Did you see that he's like, that whoever said my scouting report that I'm fast is lying. He said that post game. It was pretty funny. Um, yeah, and there was a video. It was on Bally Sports. Uh, he was in the dugout when they were hitting like the next inning, and Travis d'Arnaud is just like teaching him how to run in the dugout. Like
Travis d'Arnaud, yeah.
the old
It's
catcher.
also just from like, a team chemistry standpoint, it's good to see Olsen really sliding in like well with the rest of the team. Like he clearly is he's clearly found like a new home. Like I'm glad he's been accepted into the dugout. Him and Darnell clearly have something going on. Will, I
Yep.
love the koozie. Will's
Yeah.
going full Masters right now.
You're a douche, Will. Now you're a douche. I like the hat. You bring out the koozie. Now you're a douche.
I'm gonna try and get as many of the items I bought in this video as I can.
For all of our audio listeners, Will's currently wearing a Masters shirt, a Masters hat, and drinking a beer out of a Masters koozie. So I wonder what he was this weekend. I really can't tell.
Do you want to know? We were sorry, but we were walking into the tournament, and this is early in the morning, and a woman looked at me and she said, "Good morning and welcome to the Masters," and I think it's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so nice.
It was amazing. So
What
Mm.
about that one time somebody told you, "Oh, you don't look like complete shit today." Is that number 2 now?
that was up there. Yeah, no, that one was great. It did make my week when I heard that.
um,
uh,
yeah, you're very very well represented. You're like, we should get sponsored by the Masters at this point.
I'm sponsored by Augusta National. That's
It
what it
looks
is.
like it. But yeah, like going back to Matt,
mhm.
in terms of better than what I was expecting, strikeout rate is pretty low. It had been pretty high, and like, I mean, of the this has the Nationals. The first Nationals game is going on right now, so the stats I'm looking at are a little skewed. But going from this, he's three strikeouts and 16 ABs, which is not bad. It's not bad at all.
Mm.
It's at the lower level. But that's the way that his swing kind of is. Or that's what like it had been, is like it's you're getting a home run or you're getting a strikeout. And when he does miss, he misses pretty hard.
Mm.
Like in the zone. But I mean, he was slashing some down the line. I think he had
Mm.
2 oppo like just ground balls that went past the third baseman. And he was hitting it all over the place. I definitely like to see him kind of get some more power. Because that, I mean, he had the home run, but then past that, his deepest shot was like in front of the center fielder.
Mm.
But I mean, I'll take what he's doing every day as long as the people around him can produce. Will like you're
Yeah.
keeping the
I can't,
Masters thing
I
in
can't,
frame.
I can't take it seriously. The logo facing out is ridiculous,
Oh
man.
my god.
I'll go get
Jeez.
Uh,
more stuff.
Oh yeah,
I
just do it throughout the video.
no, yeah. There's we have an update on the Mets. They just blew a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the eighth.
yep.
So that's it.
In real time, just
So
just went down. I mean, it's to the Phillies, so like it's kind of like if your two like least favored people ever like were fighting, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
well, Mets are on the menu.
I would take the Phillies winning over the Mets. I think if
Yeah.
the Mets need to get beaten quickly, oh my god. You're putting your croquis on. Okay. Okay. All right. Um anyway, yeah. Matt's good. Matt's really good. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, let's
We
keep
got
moving.
like 17 minutes. LVP. I think it's Ian Anderson. It could very easily be a number of the people in our lineup.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think either Ian Anderson or Eddie Rosario.
hmm
What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of expectation, obviously on the bump, we're looking at Ian Anderson. He just like looked really not good. He wasn't making anyone chase. He was not generating any whiffs. Like it was pretty tough to watch. And you could tell like even the announcers like Chip and Jeff were talking about it. Like you could tell from the first pitch like he just didn't really have it.
Yeah.
Well, you're killing me, man. Uh yeah, Ian Anderson was just tough to watch. And then from a batting standpoint, I just have not really liked what like Eddie Rosario is doing.
Yeah.
Just like eye test wise and for the hype he has and what we brought him back for. I mean, you just like you have to have people, especially with Matt Olson in that like 2 spot or potentially 3 spot. You need people like setting him up, and like him and Ozzie were both not really doing the best job. But I don't know. I would honestly go with Ian Anderson just from
Yeah.
a hype perspective. Like batters will be streaky, but like Ian just never really looked like he had control, and he escaped like some really shitty situations. I believe in like pretty much every inning he faced except for the last one. So yeah, that's kind of where I'd go with that.
Yeah. The the final the final report on Ian was 2.2 innings, 5 earned runs, 1K, and then 5 walks is really
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then another candidate for LVP as well, I think would be Dansby Swanson. He
Yeah.
hit the ball more than Rosario and Ozzie did, but he is currently leading the team with 9 strikeouts, which is about 2.5 strikeouts a
did
game
he get a
bonus.
golden sombrero at any point?
He did in the first game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's tough.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, he's tough to love sometimes.
Yeah.
Very tough to love
I like
sometimes.
I remember like just whenever I go and look at the playoff highlights, I'm like, Dansby's a world class player. Like just looking at the
hmm
World Series, he got
Yeah.
that home run that tied it up in Game 4, and then Jorge hit the home run right after him. Uh, Hit the second home run in Game 6, and just played well most of the rest of the other series too. But I guess I forget how terrible he can be when he is bad. But
Yeah. Mid-season Dansby Swanson is unfortunately back on the menu. He's so streaky. And I guess one of the reasons also that like when we're talking about least valuable player of a series, like just in terms of expectation, like I saw Dansby in the 8-9 hole kind of like, going back and forth throughout the series, and I just don't expect that much from him anymore. Like he has flashes and he has his moments. I mean, obviously we saw in the World Series, but I don't know. It's I feel like we might see a new shortstop with the Braves next season, which is kind of weird to say out loud, because Dansby's just been the guy and being a first round draft pick. And obviously, a lot of this is just knee jerk, too. I mean, it's the first series of the season. There's literally 150 something more games to go. So, um, yeah, that's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a weird. I don't know why I thought this. I was watching the Yankees Red Sox game last night, but I was
Hmm.
just sitting there and I was like, I think Dansby Swanson is a future Yankee.
I
Oh,
agree. I could totally see that.
Because he just, I mean, he
mm,
fits in with like, we're not gonna spend on anything right now. Like, we're just gonna get some players that have a tiny bit of upside and can
mm,
maybe do something, but are really
yeah.
just gonna be shitty the whole year around.
Yeah.
Um,
Like Kiner Falefa is such a good example of that. Like I think they're so incredibly similar.
yeah, he's great.
Mm.
I mean, they're both great defensively,
Yeah.
and they both seem
Yeah.
like good dudes, but just not superstars by any
Yep.
means.
No,
Um,
definitely. Definitely.
but yeah, next year in the market, if for somehow some reason, well, Trey Turner contract expires. He only had 2 years with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we have the capability of getting him, but if we did, I would bust one of the fattest nuts on earth. Could measure it. But like, thanks for the delayed laugh, Will. Um,
It would hit the moon.
it would what?
I said hit the moon. Go ahead, go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Um, but and then Xander Bogarts can opt out of his contract next year. He probably won't. He's probably going to get a pretty good payday from them. But they also did get Trevor Story, who may want to move from second to short. If we got Xander, I would bust the second fattest.
I can't believe
Nah.
they're playing him at second base instead of short. That just
And
Uh,
doesn't make
Xander's
any
not
sense
that
to me.
great defensively either.
mm-mm.
He's terrible
I
defensively.
think it's just the prestige and like already being on the team.
Mm.
Probably, but
I think that's exactly what it was. I think they're
I mean,
like
they might shift
we
it eventually, but
yeah. Also,
there's
I'm pretty.
always I was
So
gonna
I
say
was just
there's
gonna.
always Javier Baez. That's all.
There always is. He's also in his contract year, and I think you realize that Trevor Story's proved his worth at shortstop, but Xander Bogaerts, like if shortstop could pay a little more than his really good second baseman. So, I mean, obviously besides the point, but
yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, there was definitely a handful of candidates for LVP this series. Austin's looking pretty good.
Mm,
He got that home run, and those were the only RBIs that he got. Um, there's not a whole ton of RBIs going around right now, except for Trav, who is
mm.
also exceeding my expectations right now.
Yep.
Um,
He's been great.
yeah. Um, but I think this team is in desperate need of a top 10 player coming back.
Yeah.
Um,
But I we tend to call for Ronald Acuna, but also for Mike Soroka. Like I think genuinely, not to be too much of a downer, and obviously, once again, these are all knee-jerk reactions. It's just the first series of the season. It's important to keep that in mind. But I think our starting pitching rotation is going to put us in a lot of trouble throughout the season, and we need
mm,
like Soroka back because after seeing Ian Anderson, obviously it could just be a game. Maybe he didn't have it, but like I don't know. Like I'm a little scared. Kyle Wright was obviously lights out, and I think that's something we should really talk about.
yeah.
But as of right now, what we have is Freed and Morton, and then a pretty steep drop off until Kyle Wright or Strider or Wasker, can prove themselves. So,
Yeah. I
mm,
I like I was fine either way coming into this season with like either signing a veteran pitcher who's like a 4-3-5 hole guy,
mm,
um,
mm,
or not, because it's like we have 4 or 5 young, really good guys that could fill in. All we need was like 2 spots because you have Ian and Charlie
mm,
and Freed locked up.
yeah,
But yeah, obviously it's too early to tell right now. But having that veteran presence just for security would have been nice looking back at it. Um, and especially seeing like the pitcher I really wanted, who is not a 3 or 4 type guy. He probably would have been third in our rotation, but Carlos Rodon, he signed a relatively small contract for his talent. I think it was like 5 years, 80 million, or between 60 and 80 million with the Giants. Would have been nice to have him, but then also even somebody like Adrian Hauser from the Brewers, I think would have been a perfect signing for pretty cheap. Maybe Johnny Cueto. I think he's about to blow up, which is why he only got a minor league deal. But still, the rotation is looking a little wobbly. Hopefully it stables out. If not, hopefully we can. We're not a team at this point that should be, just hanging on, even though we were used to that last year, just for everything that happened. But we should be a team that is not just competing, but ahead of the pack by a far margin going into the trade deadline. But that's the earliest concern right now for us is trading for a starting pitcher. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Looking game by game, just at some significant things to happen. Yeah, like I mentioned about Fried earlier, just getting a lot of blue pits on him. Or maybe I talked about that before we started recording, but he was placing his pitches pretty well, and like obviously when I was watching the game, and I'm sure a lot of other fans are watching the game, are like, oh, Fried is sucking right now. But he really wasn't. Like he was doing what he should. Ultimately, it definitely got to his head, and like Mad Fried is either one of the best pitchers, like he was in Game 6, like when he got stepped on, and then Michael Brantley was called safe, even though he didn't touch the bag. He pumped, like the strikeout that got him out of that inning was the fastest fastball that he's ever thrown in his career. Or it can just absolutely eat him up, and then like you get 5 runs pinned on you, like what happened. Which 2 of those runs were more genuinely from Sean Newcomb, but still, our lineup didn't really produce other than Olson. That was the only game that he didn't get a hit so far. He did walk twice. Ozuna is looking. He's got good numbers, and he's got 3 RBIs, 5 hits, 2 doubles. But I feel like every time I look up at the screen, he's just flying out. Like the way he swings, if he is a little off the ball, it's just straight up in the air.
He pops out so much. Yeah, he's. I will say, I think that like at the moment, and I do have some recency bias because the Nats game is happening right now, but at the moment he's been like better than I expected.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he swings like he's trying to fucking kill the ball and he pops out a lot, but I think in due time he's gonna start to calibrate a lot better, and we know the potential he has. Like he's pretty fucking good and racked up a lot of MVP voting in 2020.
Yeah.
But I think
it's had a better year than Freddie in 2020, but he just didn't play the field.
Yeah, exactly. And he sucks in the field, so that's a great. That'll be nice to have back as actual outfielder. Whenever I see Marcell Ozuna like catch a ball in left field and there's someone on base, I just know they're not getting thrown out. Like it's not even really a possibility, which kind of sucks. But
especially if you're Alec Boehm, it doesn't even matter if you touch the plate.
Yeah, Alec Boehm also had three errors today in the first 3
in
innings.
1 inning.
I think it was in 3 innings.
Oh god!
It was the first. Yeah, he in the first 3 innings of the game today, he had 3 separate air mails to first.
I hate that dude. So
obviously we hate Alec Boehm. That's like no,
given.
death taxes and Braves fans hating Alec Boehm, but I saw a video on Twitter of after like the third error, he made a throw to first base and everyone started cheering for him. And he turns to Didi Gregorius and says, "I fucking hate this place." Um, so hopefully that causes some comeuppance in the Phillies locker room and in their fan base because
They eat
I want
people
nothing more than I
alive.
want nothing more than an atomic bomb on Philadelphia, but mostly joking. Uh, uh, yeah, I don't even know how I got there, but fuck Alec Boehm, man.
Yeah, dude, like they relentlessly bully anyone on the field.
They're so bad.
They
They're
like
like,
Jeff Francoeur was talking about it. They like throw batteries at opposing
hmm
players, and sometimes their own players.
yeah.
Seems
Um,
reasonable. I'm not gonna lie. It seems reasonable.
uh, but I remember Sean Rodriguez, not a really big player, but he went and played with
Mhm.
for the Phillies for a little bit, like 2 years ago. Um, and he just kind of sucked at the beginning, and then he made some comments where he was like, "Yeah, I just don't like it here" or something, and then they just
Mhm.
tore him apart.
Yeah.
They are a awful
They're
breed up
ruthless.
there.
They're ruthless. I mean, Alec Boehm's never gonna be the same. Like, you make that mistake and no one's gonna forget about it. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
moving a little.
Mhm.
I mean, just with the rest of these games, I mean, Charlie looked great.
Yeah.
Honestly, not expecting a whole ton of out of him this season, but now with the shape that our rotation is looking like it's going to be in, he's desperately needed, and
Mhm.
he's looking pretty solid. Um, would have expected him to go a little longer, but I think it's just these pitchers coming in from a shortened spring training. He didn't get the pitches
Yeah.
he needed, and so he wasn't super ready to go too far. Um, but did pretty well. Got 5 runs in the second inning, or third inning. Um, Darno is playing really well that game. Arcia got a hit. I don't like him in the lineup. I
Mhm. No,
uh,
not at all.
he, he's like the way he swings too is kind of just like a worse swing of Ozuna. It's like the Walmart brand Ozuna swing, and
Mm.
he also gets pop ups. But then like his main hit is just slashing stuff down the line, which is usually just a bunch of foul balls, and then he strikes out. But
Mhm.
at least he did something. This game, the second game, uh, bullpen looked pretty tight, and then Kenley Jansen opened up a can of whoop ass on himself. And didn't make a good first impression. I'll go and
Not
say
at
it.
all.
Not too
He
good.
he reminded me a lot of Will Smith last season, which is not good at
Mm,
all. But it's funny because like one of my best friends at USC is a Dodgers fan, and he'd always talked about like the Kenley Jansen heart attacks and how you kind of know within the first few pitches. And I don't know, like that just sucked. Like I never thought he was gonna lose us the game, obviously, but
got
you just hate to
close.
see that, especially on the first start.
Yeah. Do you
But
think
yeah,
so?
good.
So the next day, Will Smith came in and closed, and he did a good job. I mean, he gave 1 run, but it was a pretty
Mhm.
controlled inning still.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
do you think? Because I mean, we look back at last year, and even when Will Smith was just absolute balls,
Mhm.
Snicker stuck with him to solidify the
Mhm.
closing role. Um, do you think that he's going to keep going back and forth this year, at least at the beginning, or do you think that that would just happen because Kenley threw 30 pitches the day before?
I think I mean, like all closing contexts, I think it just depends on the leverage of the situation. I really think he's going to stick with Kenley for closer for a really long time. And I do think that what happened this series with Will Smith coming in is pretty much, because of that. Like, if you pitch 30, in an inning, where if you're a closer, you're not really supposed to top out more than like 15, max 20.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and Will Smith has that ability, so. I guess we'll see. The other like kind of spin zone on that is I just could not see Kenley Jansen throwing in the seventh inning. Like that's
Yeah,
just
that's
not who
true.
he is. Um, But yeah, that's just where I'm at with that.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, Will Smith last year, the most pitches he threw in an inning was, I think, either 30 or 33.
Mhm.
So not a great start to see your closer instantly do
Mhm.
that. Third game, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely raised my chin a little high after this game,
Mhm.
because Kyle Wright came in and laid down the law, and then I raised my chin just a tiny bit higher, um, cause hold on, my computer's making noise right now. I don't know how. Okay, it stopped. But yeah, I raised my chin just a tiny bit higher when I saw how terrible Ian Anderson did. Wasn't
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a pretty terrible thing to say. I wasn't happy about it,
Yeah, of course not.
but like I was like, oh, look at this. Look who said something and then it exactly happened. Oh, it's
Mhm.
crazy. But yeah, Kyle looked disgusting.
Mhm.
Um,
Lights
near
out.
unhittable. He gave up how many hits? Two. Gave up 2 hits, 76 pitches. 56 of those were strikes. 6 strikeouts, 6 innings, 1 walk, and the walk was at the end.
Yeah.
Because he was going into the 7th inning, got issued that walk, and then got pulled. And I think that was the right decision. So he could have gone further, but it was pretty good where he was left off.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then saw our first appearance with Darren O'Day, and he did better than I expected. Hopefully that continues. Thank you for bringing the cut back into shot, Will. Um,
Look at all the logos of the.
they're four Masters logos. Well, yeah, there's four. Yeah, there's four Masters logos.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. Impressive.
but bottom of our lineup is just kind of dookie.
Awful. Yeah.
William Contreras started this game. This was game 3. Alex Dickerson is on the verge
He's
of
awful. I
being
hate him.
off of this team.
I fucking hate him. I don't like him at all.
He did get robbed of a double or triple this game, but that's the only real almost hit that he's had. And other than that, how many at bats has he had? He's had 9 at bats, only 3 strikeouts, which is 33%, 1 walk, and no hits. So that's a little tough.
Mhm.
I think, especially once Acuna gets back, Alex's role on the team might be gone. And I don't know if he's going to want to go to AAA, but it looks like his destiny.
I feel like he wouldn't. I feel like at that point.
Just
But
yeah,
also, I don't like, if Ronald has injury history, there's no reason for us to get rid of him.
yeah, but it's just like looking at his contract versus, and then like his ability versus the other guys who might be doing a little better in AAA. And
Mhm.
I'd honestly rather have Phil Gosselin or you just give him a shot. Give those guys a
Yeah.
shot and just see what happens. Because Alex is not
Yeah.
working out right now.
No, he's not.
Colin McHugh had a rough experience on his first game. First batter he sees, he gives up a 3-run home run.
Mhm.
But he kind of corrected himself in the third game or the fourth game.
Fourth game. Yeah.
Did really well. Came
I think
in,
he had no hits through like 2 innings. So
yeah,
pretty solid.
2.15 Ks, no
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah. He went
So
off.
he's an absolute weapon with how far he can
Yeah.
go, too. And Thornburg is still looking good. I know Will is
He is.
not high on him, but doing pretty
It's a
well.
matter of time. It's a time bomb, fellas. It's a time bomb.
But first game, something that we forgot as well in terms of the MVP category. The only good thing that was one of the most boring games I've ever seen. Just terrible.
Awful. So bad.
Not a fun. I'm so sorry if you paid money to go to that game because what a letdown too. Just
Hmm.
I kind of felt it coming as well. And I predicted the other two things to happen as well. So I'm pretty smart guy. But I wasn't getting super hype about it, and then it just kind of unloaded in the first 3 innings. I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
this sucks. But Spencer Strider is disgusting. just absolutely gross. I think he should be put on like a watch list of some type because of how he assaulted those people in the box. Uh,
He was unreal. He was so fun to watch too. It's like one of those moments where you're like kind of like not falling asleep, but you're not really paying attention, sort of passively, and then you perk up. You're like, oh shit,
mm,
this guy's got something going on. He also has a really good mustache.
he does.
Very, very good mustache. Hard to
Hmm.
come by.
But yeah, he went 2 innings, 5 strikeouts, 24 pitches. So 5 of the 6 guys he faced put away by way of the K. I didn't mean to say it like that, but that's just how it left my lips. Um,
Move on.
Last game, Hunter Green makes his start. He's pretty filthy. Sam and Will and I all saw him at Chattanooga over the summer and looked pretty good last summer. I'm wearing my Lookats hat right now. Did I just say Lookats?
Lookouts.
Fuck.
Lookouts outs.
The
Lookouts
Lookouts.
hat.
Oh my god. I'm gonna kill myself. But he looked pretty good, especially in the first 2-3 innings, and then kind of unraveled a little bit. But I mean, it's his debut. First pitcher to win their MLB debut against the Braves since Tyler Matzik in 2013 or 2012 with the Colorado
Back in
Rockies.
the Rockies.
Which is a pretty impressive streak, which is now dead. But yeah, had the same number of hits, just couldn't put that stuff together. And again, when we lost these games, we lost them early, which is what it looks like is happening with the Nationals right now as well. But Matt Olson did his thing. Other people did not. Duvall got a hit, and so did Dansby. Sean looked better. Worst case scenario, I'm even thinking right now, like for options in the rotation, Sean might get a start, which is the worst case scenario right now.
Do not need that. Please, God, no.
But who came in again and then gave up no runs and got 2 Ks? Tyler Thornburg, yet again. His ERA is still at 0. Just waiting for you to be
It's only a
right,
matter
Will.
of time.
Just waiting for you to be
I-
right. But yeah, I mean that's series was not much, to be honest. It's kind of depressing. We have 14, including the game that's going on right now, and maybe the games that already happened. I don't know, but we have 14 games in a row with no break. And just with that, and then like the Chip and Jeff were saying during the games, like Braves are just not ready for the pace of play right now. Like especially, I mean, Hunter Green was going quick with his pitches, and we were not on it at all. We just kind of looked gassed and confused and not ourselves. Won't talk about the National Series right now, but that's kind of like what it's looking like there again. And this is about to be our third loss. And in each of those losses, we lost very early. So hopefully we can figure out our rotation sooner rather than later. Like I said last episode, I wanted it to be a difficult decision, but it's looking a little easier and easier now. And is kind of trending towards difficult decision in that like there's not many people to trust. But yeah, we were a pretty bad opening team. So hopefully that's just the main factor right now. Other than that, it's tough to tell right now what's really happening. Ozzie's got to get his shit together. Duvall's got to get his shit together. Not Olson. Rosario. Olson's kind of carrying the team right now, but it's hard to carry the team when you come out in the third inning and you're down 5 runs. And yeah, I mean, I would rather have, and they talk about this on Bally as well, but I would much rather have a young starting pitcher go out, give up 4 runs in 6 innings, but just constantly attack the zone and make the hitter hit instead of throwing these non-competitive pitches, than go out there and do what Ian did, where I mean um, Ian or today, but just like not give up a whole ton of runs at least for a while, but you're at like 60 pitches going into the third inning. Um, just not conducive for a consistently good ball club. Um, but yeah, those are my final thoughts on it right now.
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of wrap up too. I think it's like right now it's just super easy to be frustrated, especially when you think about kind of like the future in the rotation. But I mean, there is a lot to look forward to. We'll get Acuna back, and hopefully a lot of the hitters will kind of adjust. But I think another thing to look out for is I think the division's going to be incredibly competitive this year. The Mets look really good, and they don't have Jake DeGrom right now, which sucks. Phillies are also looking pretty solid. And we're just gonna need to, you're right. Like, I don't think we're ready for the pace at the moment, and hopefully that changes. But for the interim, I guess we'll see how this national series goes out. Have a 14 game stretch, and hopefully we're on the over 500 side at the end of it, and still a lot of games to play.
Yeah, I'm just
Mhm.
very appreciative that we're not playing an NL East team that actually matters right now,
Very true.
since we are not doing very well. But Will, any closing thoughts? You want to show us any more Masters gear?
Oh boy. I do look a little bit ridiculous, don't I?
Mm,
Well, that
But
is always the same.
yeah, but this one's a little bit different.
Okay.
What's I gonna say? No, nothing else really. I mean, like, I didn't watch the series, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I promise I have more to say typically to any new viewers. Um, but this one's just sort of an anomaly. Um, but I do think, I mean, it's important not to. I mean, we touched on it a few times, but it's been 4 games.
Yeah.
We're playing
mhm.
the fifth one right now,
Yeah.
so there's that. Not gonna have all the answers right now, so
Yeah. Well, going into the National Series, is it 3 games that we're playing?
I think it is. Yeah. I'll
Okay.
double check real quick, but yeah.
What's the series after that?
Uh, we play the. Let me pull it up real quick. Oh, Padres. Yeah, that one's in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. And then the Dodgers. Oh God.
I'm gonna do my best to make all those games.
Yeah. Shit.
And
Don't
try very
wear your
hard.
fucking Acuna jersey. I swear if you do.
Yeah, no.
Sam has this Acuna jersey that he wears, and almost every time he's worn it, we lose. Almost
I
every single
think
time.
I'm not kidding. I think that we have won one game while I was wearing it, and it was the Pirates game last year where we blew them out by like 20. So maybe that was like the one time like on aggregate it all like leveled out. But yeah, no, I avoid it like the plague. Like I know baseball is an incredibly superstitious sport, but there are times where I'm wearing it during a game and I'll take it off and we'll start winning. So I call it the unlucky jersey.
you should get
People
a
out there
Brock
like
Holt jersey.
I
Yeah.
should.
Should get a Brock Holt
Yeah,
jersey.
I should reach out. I should reach out to him.
I
See
cannot
what's
believe
happening.
that I accidentally deleted the reel that he commented on.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
I wanted
shocked.
to shoot myself after it happened.
Yeah,
Well,
that
what
was hard to
happened was
watch.
like
That was hard to watch.
I went into my reels, and then it just like I saw ours, like the Brock Holt one, and then it was like draft or drafts,
Uh,
and then so I was like, I clicked on it, I was like, oh, this is just the same one, but it says drafts. I don't want this on my like
mm,
on here, so I'm just gonna delete it. I don't know if this is like a copy, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. So
We
mm.
have an opening to all the viewers. We have an opening for a new social media manager. So,
yeah, but we'll see y'all after the next series. Remember that Sweet Hand Sports code Chopcast10, CHOPCAST 10, and yeah, Will's got his master's stuff. Um, but yeah, go get some cool batting gloves. Support that guy. He's pretty cool. Support some local business and us as well. Yeah, go Braves. We'll see you in a couple days.